Well, Mr. President, thank you. It's been a great honor to be here. Not only the Normandy events, but it was a moving experience for a student of French history to be the Champs-Élysées today. It was a moving experience for us, for the whole delegation. France was our first friend. It remains one of our best friends. This week, we reaffirm that friendship in a deeply meaningful way. But before I begin my remarks, I want to echo President Macron's comments welcoming the safe rescue of 4 hostages that were returned to their families in Israel. We won't stop working until all the hostages come home and a ceasefire is reached. That is essential to happen. Together we marked the 8th anniversary of the Allied operation that saved Europe and incredible heroes who carried it out. I found it 180 brave men, happened to be all men at the time, who came back to Normandy this week with such pride and sense of devotion. I don't think anyone who got to meet them, shake their hands, or hear their stories will ever forget their stories or the look in their eyes and the pride they took with what they did. But you could also see they're remembering the lost comrades at the same time. The fact is that I know I won't forget it. And I want to thank President Macron, Mrs. Macron, for the people of France for making our heroes feel so welcome, because they did feel welcome. You could feel it. You could see it. And we'll never forget what they did. And this week, we have showed the world once again the power of allies and what we can achieve when we stand together. That's what this relationship between France and the United States exemplifies. We see it in Ukraine, where our 2 countries are standing with the Ukrainian people as they fight off Putin's brutal aggression. And yesterday, I announced $225 million in new security assistance to Ukraine, and it's the 6th package we've provided since we signed the national security legislation earlier this year. I wish we could have done it when we wanted to 6 months earlier, but we got it done. With $61 billion in additional aid to Ukraine. And I commend France and our European allies for their leadership as well. The EU has provided over $107 billion in assistance to Ukraine since the war began, because we know what happens if Putin succeeds in subjugating Ukraine. And we won't stop. Putin's not going to stop at Ukraine. It's not just Ukraine. It's about much more than Ukraine. All of Europe will be threatened. We're not going to let that happen. The United States is standing strong with Ukraine. We're standing with our allies, and we're standing with France. We will not, say it again, walk away. And around the world, France and the United States are working together to strengthen security and shared prosperity. In the Indo-Pacific, we stand together for freedom of navigation, transparent governments, as well as fair economic practices. In the Middle East, in North Africa, we work together on issues critical to peace and stability, like food security and counterterrorism. And the existential threat of climate change, which is just growing greater, we're working together to accelerate the global transition to net zero. It is the existential threat to humanity, among the only existential threat to humanity, including nuclear weapons, is if we do nothing on climate change. I could go on. Every day, the French people and the American people are connected in countless ways through economic ties, collaboration in science and technology, educational exchanges. The reason we don't have more Americans coming, we're afraid they won't come home. This is such an incredible country, such a beautiful country. And, the fact is that these cherished ties between our families and friends continues to grow. The bonds between our nation are strong, vast, and rooted in the most important element, shared values. That's true today, as it's been from the very start. In a few weeks, the United States will celebrate the 4th of July, our Day of Independence. That feat would not have been possible, it's not hyperbole, would not have been possible were it not for France coming to our aid. We're a nation because of France in large part. You stepped up when we needed help, and you did it. That's what 4th of July is about. That feat would not have been possible, again, without your support, without French support. Today, I proudly stand with France to support freedom and democracy around the world. That's what this spectacular week is all about. Mr. President, there's much more we had the chance to talk about. We're going to continue to talk. You've become a good friend, and I really appreciate your cooperation and your insights. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, President.
Thank you.
Mr. President, can you give us an update on the Russian assets? Did you discuss that today?